I'm not Juliette. She's my daughter. She got to know her grandpa quite well. She spent several months here during the difficult last months of Mom's passing, and a few months with Dad. Anyway, I won't say any more than that, but she talks about it herself. Sometime in the spring of 2018, I had just received the results for my master's thesis. I was stuck in traffic on one of Montreal's ongoing road construction sites. My phone was ringing, and when I answered, I heard Grandpa's voice, so proud, congratulating me once more. This thesis was our common achievement, as he was the one who made sure I sat down every day to finish it, while I spent time with him during the difficult time after Grandma was passing away. 2 weeks before he went to the hospital and passed away himself, the day I moved to my new home in Montreal, I spoke with him. He was so happy about the family gathering, he said, I felt bad about not being able to come, despite how badly I'd wanted to visit with him over the summer. There were so many things I would have loved to do had I not been so far away. We had talked about writing a book, with all the memories about his and Grandma's life, among other things. He told me he was content with his life, how what he looked back upon was a happy and fulfilled life, and that he could see nothing in front of him, and felt lonely, despite all the visits and time spent with friends and family. His last words to me were, I love you. He wanted to make sure I heard these words, as always. Over the last few months, conversations were simpler, with a lot of these essential and warm words of support as he watched my budding teaching career unfold, with all its ups and downs. This is what I will remember. Someone who was always making sure his loved ones felt loved and supported. His expectations were high, sometimes harsh. He wanted the best for all of his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, but he loved all of us, as his legendary bear hugs expressed best. I don't want to sugarcoat Grandpa. He was also a grumpy old man. And from what I observed, it was Grandma who was often balancing perspectives, reminding him that others were worse off when he would complain about something, or advocating a more lenient attitude towards someone or other. Perhaps, more than his physical balance, this is the balance he lost when Grandma passed away. Yet I remember Grandpa for two main things. He was a great storyteller once you got him started, and he loved arguing about ideas. Oh, and he loved bread and jam. That's perhaps one of the first English words I learned when Grandma and Grandpa were visiting. As for storytelling, I have an evening in particular in mind, one at Walter and Mabel Patekau's with Uncle Art and the Don Harders, I believe, where they all started telling tales of their lives in Rosemary. It was a magical evening, time traveling with them, Grandpa cheerfully telling about getting drunk with uncles after a long day of harvest, the mischief that was done on Halloween, or the tales of how Alpa hated to drive and drove into a ditch, or how their neighbor kept stealing Alpa's tools while the family was at church on Sundays, and how Alpa would go back to retrieve them every time. Those stories and how I saw Grandpa morph into one charismatic storyteller were some of my favorite moments with him. Of course, because of my field of study, philosophy, I was privileged to also share other interests with Grandpa. As he liked to describe himself, he was a truth seeker, who sometimes was convinced he had found some kind of truth and would quite enthusiastically argue about it. Despite this, he was determined, as far as he could see, not to leave any rock unturned in his quest. Discussing ideas was one of his great passions, a passion we shared, and which he made sure I would pursue and succeed at. I don't believe there is much individual life after death. This is something Grandpa and I often discussed, among so many other fundamental questions. He didn't know, and he said he didn't mind not knowing one way or the other. But what I know is that Grandpa's legacy and memories will live on. A Jewish friend of mine once said that in older Jewish traditions, life after death meant you kept on living through your children and grandchildren, but also through all the memories you left for people to live with. Each of us has had a unique relationship and set of memories with Grandpa, and each of us will continue his life on their own. Grandpa is now the mosaic of all our experiences with and of him together, as well as the relationships we have with each other. the values and actions he left us, and what we'll choose to grow and enact in our own lives will keep him alive. When we gather and exchange our memories, and when we act as he would have, or as he wished he would have, our lives will keep Grandpa alive in this world.